You built your quality management system on ISO 9001:2015. Your processes are documented. Your auditors know your system. Your customers rely on your certification. Then word arrives. ISO 9001 is being updated. Before you schedule an emergency management review, take a breath. This is not a rebuild. This is a refinement. ISO 9001:2026 keeps every pillar of the 2015 framework you already know. The process approach, risk-based thinking, the plan, do, check, act cycle. What it does is sharpen 5 specific areas to reflect how business actually operates today. Let's walk through each one. The first update sits right at the top of your organization. ISO 9001:2026 makes an expectation explicit that was always implied. Top management must now actively promote and demonstrate ethical behavior as part of quality culture, not just endorse it on paper. This means management review records need to reflect ethical commitments, and your internal audit program should be able to demonstrate that employees are genuinely aware of them. That awareness requirement connects directly to Clause 7.3. Employees must now understand how their role connects to ethical conduct and to quality objectives. If you are already doing ethics training, great. Now you need the documentation trail to prove it connects to ISO 9001 requirements. That is the Clause 7.3 obligation, and it does not require a company-wide program. It requires a clear, role-relevant communication and a record that it happened. Here's a quick summary of all 5 updates, so you have the full picture before we go deeper on each one. Update 1. Quality Culture and Ethics, Clauses 5.1 and 7.3. Update 2. Climate in Organizational Context, Clause 4.1. Update 3. Risk versus Opportunity, Separated and Evaluated Distinctly, Clause 6.1. Update 4. Change Verification, Close the Loop, Clause 6.3. Update 5. Customer Contingency Communication, Clause 8.2. Update 2. In 2024, ISO issued a standalone amendment adding climate change to Clause 4.1, the clause that requires organizations to determine external and internal issues relevant to their strategic purpose. ISO 9001:2026 codifies that amendment into the standard. If climate change is relevant to your context, regulation, supply chain disruption, physical risk, it belongs in your context analysis. If it is not relevant, your records show that the consideration was made. This does not require you to become an environmental management system. It requires your organization to have made a considered determination and recorded it. Your next management review should include climate context as a standing agenda item. Update 3. Clause 6.1 in ISO 9001:2015 asked organizations to address both risks and opportunities. In practice, most organizations bundled them together. One register, one process. ISO 9001:2026 introduces a clearer structural separation. Risks and opportunities must now be evaluated with their own distinct criteria. The actions you take on a risk, mitigation, containment, monitoring, are structurally different from the actions you take on an opportunity, evaluation, prioritization, resourcing. Conflating them produces neither good risk management nor good strategic decision-making. For most organizations, this means separating your risk register from your opportunity log and establishing distinct review criteria for each. Your management review agenda should reflect this separation. Auditors will look for evidence that risk and opportunity were considered through different lenses, not the same register reviewed once. This means separate sections in your management review output and separate documented criteria for each. In your QMS, that separation should be visible at the record level. Risk records and opportunity records are distinct document types with distinct approval workflows. Update 4. Clause 6.3 governs planning of changes to the quality management system. ISO 9001:2026 adds a specific requirement. After a plan change is implemented, you must verify that it achieved its intended effect. Organizations often implement QMS changes, revised procedures, restructured processes, new controls, and then move on. There is no formal checkpoint that asks, did the change do what we said it would? The 2026 requirement closes that loop. Changes need a defined verification step, a follow-up review that confirms intended outcomes were achieved before the change is considered complete. If you use an electronic QMS, this typically means adding a post-implementation review task to your change request workflow. Update 5, Clause 8.2 covers customer communication requirements. ISO 9001-2026 adds a specific expectation. When disruptions occur, organizations must inform customers about relevant contingency arrangements. The supply chain disruptions of recent years made this a practical necessity. Customers need to know when delivery timelines shift, when alternative sourcing is activated, or when service continuity plans come into effect. Not after the fact, but as part of a structured communication protocol. In practice, this means your contingency plans, business continuity procedures, supply disruption protocols need a customer notification step built in. Review your existing Clause 8.2 customer communication records and your business continuity plan to confirm this linkage is explicit. It does not require elaborate new systems. It requires deliberate communication design. ISO 9001-2026 carries a standard 3-year transition window. Your ISO 9001-2015 certification remains valid throughout that period. Your transition roadmap is 5 steps: a structured gap analysis against the 5 update areas, documentation updates across your risk register, change procedure, and Clause 8.2 protocol, awareness training with a Clause 7.3 record, an internal audit focused on the 2026 clauses before your certification body visit, and early engagement with your certification body. Transition audit slots fill faster than organizations expect, so plan accordingly. Start a free 30-day trial or schedule a live demo at eLeaPsoftware.com and download the free ISO 9001-2026 Gap Analysis Toolkit, link in the description.